If you've been watching the news lately, you've probably seen the words stock market crash more times than you can count. And honestly, I get why people are nervous. We're sitting near all-time highs, valuations look stretched, and every other headline seems to be predicting doom. But here's the thing, and this is what we need to talk about today. The reason everyone's worried in 2026 might actually be different from what you think. And more importantly, what you should actually do about it might surprise you. Let's break this down. So first, let me just acknowledge what you're probably feeling. You've worked hard to build your portfolio. Maybe you've been investing through 2023, 2024, 2025, watching your account grow. And now you're wondering, is this the top? Should I sell? Should I wait? That anxiety is completely normal. It's what our brains are wired to do. But here's what's actually happening right now that has Wall Street paying attention. There's a metric called the Shiller P by E ratio. Basically, it measures how expensive the stock market is compared to company earnings over the past 10 years. Right now, it's sitting at about 40. To put that in perspective, the only time in the last 150 years that the market has been more expensive was right before the dot-com bubble burst in 2000. So yeah, the concerns aren't coming from nowhere, but, and this is the important part, there's a huge difference between expensive and about to crash. See, here's what most people miss when they look at that valuation number. In the late 1990s, companies were valued at insane levels, but they weren't actually making money. Pets.com, remember that? They were burning cash. The earnings didn't exist. Today, these companies are printing money. Apple, Microsoft, Google, they're not startups with dreams. They have massive earnings, real cash flow, and products billions of people use every single day. That doesn't mean the market can't go down. It absolutely can. But the reason it might go down matters a lot for what you should do about it. The other thing that's different, artificial intelligence isn't just hype. It's actually being integrated into real businesses. I was reading earnings reports last quarter, and companies are showing actual revenue growth and cost savings from AI implementation. Not promises, results. Does that justify every valuation? No. But it does mean this isn't just speculative fever like we saw 25 years ago. Now, I'm not here to tell you everything's fine and there's nothing to worry about. There are real concerns. Number one, we've got the highest tariffs since the 1930s. That's not a political statement, it's just a fact. And tariffs do slow economic growth. You can already see it in the manufacturing data. Number two, unemployment has been creeping up. We're at a 4-year high. Nothing catastrophic, but the trend isn't great. Number three, the Fed is basically telling us they're done cutting rates as aggressively as the market hoped. That matters because lower rates usually support higher stock prices. So we have expensive valuations, plus some economic headwinds. That's the concern. But here's where the different than you think part comes in. Most of the crash predictions you're seeing assume that if there's trouble, everything falls apart at once. Quick, dramatic, 2008 style. But look at what actually happened during past periods of high valuations. Sometimes the market just went sideways. For years. Not a crash. Just disappointing returns while earnings caught up to prices. That's not exciting. You can't make a scary YouTube thumbnail out of market might be boring for a while. But it's actually what happens more often than crashes do. So what should you actually do with this information? First, don't try to time the market. I know, you've heard that before. But here's why it matters right now. If you sell everything today and the market goes up another 15% before eventually correcting 20%, you actually lost money by playing it safe. This happens to people all the time. Second, if you're genuinely losing sleep over your portfolio, that's telling you something about your asset allocation. Maybe you have too much in stocks for your personal risk tolerance, and that's okay. There's no shame in holding more bonds or cash if it lets you sleep at night and stay invested long-term. But don't confuse fear with strategy. Third, this is actually a good time to make sure you're diversified. If your entire portfolio is the Magnificent 7 tech stocks, yeah, you might want to think about that. Not because those are bad companies, but because concentration is always riskier than diversification. That's just math. Look, I'm not sitting here with a crystal ball. I don't know if the market's going up or down next month. Nobody does. The talking heads on TV don't know either. They're just better at sounding confident. What I do know is this. Every single major market decline in history has eventually been followed by new highs. Every single one. Here's what I think is the real lesson from looking at market history, and this might actually surprise you. The people who got hurt the worst in past crashes, I'm talking 2008, the dot-com bubble, even Black Monday in 1987, they weren't the ones who stayed invested through the chaos. They were the ones who panicked and sold everything at the absolute bottom, turning their temporary losses into permanent ones. Think about March 2009 for a second. The market had been falling for months. People were terrified. Some investors just couldn't take it anymore and sold everything right at the lowest point. Then they watched from the sidelines as their friends who held on recovered everything within a few years and went on to make even more money. Meanwhile, they were stuck in cash, too scared to get back in, kicking themselves for years. Or you had the people who'd been way too aggressive with how they invested. Maybe they were 100% in stocks even though they were only 5 years away from retirement. So when the market dropped 40%, they actually needed that money for living expenses. They didn't have the luxury of waiting for recovery. They were forced to sell at the worst possible time. The investors who came through these periods not just okay, but actually better off. They had 3 things working in their favor. First, they had the right diversification for their age and their goals. Not too conservative where they miss out on growth, but definitely not recklessly throwing everything at high-risk stocks either. Just sensible balance. Second, and this sounds counterintuitive, they kept putting money in during the downturn. I know that sounds scary when you're watching your account value drop, but here's the thing. Buying stocks when they're down 30% is literally buying them on sale. That's actually when wealth gets built. And third, this is the toughest one. They didn't make emotional decisions based on whatever scary headline popped up that day. They didn't panic because their neighbor said the world was ending. They didn't completely change their strategy because some guy on TV sounded really confident. They just stuck to their plan. Now, could we see a 20% correction in 2026? Absolutely, it's possible. Could we see another 20% gain first and then a correction? Yeah, that could happen too. Could we just trade sideways for a couple years while company earnings slowly catch up to stock prices? That's also on the table. And I'm not saying all that to cover every possibility or avoid making a call. I'm saying it because that's just how markets actually work. They're unpredictable. Anyone who tells you they know for certain what's coming next is either trying to sell you something or they're kidding themselves. What you can control, what actually matters, is making sure your portfolio matches your real situation, your specific timeline, your honest risk tolerance, your actual goals for your life. Not some expert's prediction that might be completely wrong. Not what sounds exciting on social media. Not what your friend is doing. What actually makes sense for your life and your circumstances. So here's my challenge for you this week. Don't ask yourself, is the market going to crash? Ask yourself, if the market dropped 25% tomorrow, would I be okay? Would I have to sell? Or could I hold on and maybe even buy more? If the honest answer is that you'd be in trouble, that's the problem to fix, not predicting the unpredictable. Thanks for watching. If this helped calm some of that noise in your head, do me a favor and share it with someone else who's feeling the same anxiety. We're all figuring this out together. I'll see you in the next one. Stay smart with your money.